Today we are in Akron, Ohio at Greensburg Cemetery. We're here to pay our respects to Steven Hicks. He was 18 years old when Jeffrey Dahmer took his life.
He was Jeffrey Dahmer's first ever victim. It happened not far from here. Jeffrey had been planning out something like this for a little while. As a matter of fact, he had seen another jogger that he found attractive run by near his house. So he set up behind some bushes one day, was going to jump out and grab this guy, but the guy did not come by on his jog that day. So when he saw Steven, who was hitchhiking his way to a rock concert, he decided to pick him up. He took him back to the house where they had a few beers together, but Steven started talking about girls, at which point Jeffrey realized this guy was not going to do anything with him, and he didn't want Steven to leave. We'll get more into that story. We're going to check out Jeffrey's childhood home, a couple of his schools as well, and we cordially invite you to come along.
Jeffrey Dahmer was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was described as a happy, bubbly toddler, but his demeanor reportedly changed significantly after a double hernia surgery around age 4. He became more subdued, withdrawn, and emotionally detached. His family moved to Ohio when he was 6 years old, and then to Bath Township 2 years later. He attended elementary school here at Bath Elementary School. During that time, he began collecting and dissecting dead animals and was interested in how things worked, quote, underneath the skin, end quote. Around that time, Jeffrey killed a bowl of tadpoles with motor oil after his favorite teacher gave them to another boy. He had few friends and had trouble forming close relationships. A childhood friend, Steve Layer, found him a, quote, little strange, end quote, while playing together.
This is the house where Jeffrey lived during his younger years. The Dahmer family moved here when Jeffrey was 8 years old. Reports suggest he had a fascination with bones and dead animals, even as a child. His father, who was a chemist, showed him how to preserve bones using bleach, something Jeffrey would later put to use in far more disturbing ways. By the time he reached high school, Jeffrey was drinking heavily, even sneaking alcohol into class. Friends later recalled him pulling pranks. Teachers remembered him as an average student, though he struggled socially and academically. His drinking became noticeable, and classmates even nicknamed some of his antics as doing a Dahmer, when he would fake seizures or imitate people with disabilities for attention. Not long after graduation, Jeffrey's life spiraled. With his mother gone and his father living elsewhere, Jeffrey was alone in this house. People who knew Jeffrey described him as quiet, even shy, but inside, he was struggling with dark thoughts and impulses. This house would become the setting for the first time he acted on them.
Steven Hicks was just 4 days shy of turning 19 years old the day he met Jeffrey Dahmer. He was just a kid with long dark hair and a nice smile. He grew up in Coventry Township, Ohio, and loved rock music, especially bands like Boston and Styx. His friends and family members said he was caring and friendly. That summer of 1978, he was hitchhiking to a rock concert in Chippewa Lake Park, about 25 miles from his house, and he was excited to let loose with his friends before the summer ended. But Steven never made it to the concert. As he walked along the road, holding out his thumb and hoping for a ride, a car pulled up, driven by a young man named Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey, who was also 18 at the time, seemed friendly enough. He offered Steven a ride, some cold beers, and a chance to hang out at his family's house. Jeffrey told Steven he'd give him a ride to the concert after they finished off the beers. Steven thought that all sounded great to him, so he hopped into Jeffrey's car and they headed to this house here.
Once inside, the two young men drank and talked. Steven was pumped about the concert, and after a few beers, he told Jeffrey it was time to go. He did not want to be late. Jeffrey did not want Steven to leave. And at that moment, something snapped inside of him. While Steven was sitting in a chair with his back to Jeffrey, Jeffrey grabbed a 10-pound dumbbell and struck Steven twice from behind. The blows were sudden and shocking. Jeffrey would later say that after Steven collapsed, He strangled him with the barbell's handle. Jeffrey said that when he realized Steven was dead, he stood over his lifeless body, filled with adrenaline. He then dragged Steven's lifeless body to the basement and left the body there overnight. The next morning, Jeffrey dug a shallow grave in the backyard, cut up the body, and placed Steven's remains in the shallow grave. But it did not end there. Months later, he dug up the remains, crushed the bones with a sledgehammer, and scattered them in the woods behind his parents' home.
Steven Hicks was the first of many, but no one knew that at the time. His parents and friends had no clue what had happened to him. For years, Steven's family held on to hope. They posted flyers, called police stations, and searched highways and roads, convinced their son might still be out there, hitchhiking his way to some distant town. His mother, Martha, talked about many sleepless nights waiting by the phone, praying for a knock on the door that never came. His father, Richard, searched the woods and fields near their home, always believing Steven would return.
But the answers they sought did not come until 1991, when Jeffrey Dahmer was arrested for a string of horrific killings. It was then that they learned the truth of the senseless violence, the betrayal of trust, and the horrific end of their son's life. Steven Hicks was the first life Jeffrey stole, but his family never let the world forget who Steven was. A bright, caring young man with so much life ahead of him, stolen far too soon. And though his life was cut tragically short, Steven's story will always be a reminder of the evil that can lurk just beneath a stranger's smile and the love of a family that never stopped searching for him.